At the mouth of the Pearl River, something remarkable is taking shape. A cluster of cities home to more than 86 million people. Together, they form one of the largest economic regions on Earth. Some call it China's Greater Bay Area, an experiment in infrastructure, technology, and urban growth, a place where history, politics, and innovation collide. So, we set out to explore 4 of its fascinating cities.
See you in Guangzhou.
Our journey begins in Guangzhou, a city with over 2,000 years of trading history. Long before skyscrapers defined the city, this was China's main gateway to the outside world. The first detail we couldn't get over is that even the metro tells you which cars are warmer or cooler. Despite all the modernization of the city, Guangzhou still lives at street level. Markets spill into alleyways, parks are filled with card players, and this egg tart we came across cost about 1 yuan, or yep man in Cantonese. Cantonese has been the dominant language in Guangzhou and this region for centuries. However, a few locals have mentioned to us that the language is declining. Reason being China's national language policy promoting Mandarin as the primary language, and the city's rapid urban growth bringing millions of Mandarin-speaking residents from other provinces. Our friend from the area says he forces his nephew to speak it despite the resistance at home. One dish might surprise outsiders: roast pigeon. In Cantonese cuisine, nothing goes to waste. The tradition grew from centuries of trading culture, where ingredients from land and sea shaped one of China's most celebrated culinary regions. Speaking of delicacies, Cantonese food also gave the world dim sum. Originally served to travelers along the Silk Road, where dim sum began as small snacks eaten in tea houses. Today, it's one of the most recognizable culinary traditions anywhere in the Chinese world. And alas, we washed all of the food down with these famed desserts from Nanxin, Shuangpin Ai. Fabio's favorite food was the red bean soup, mine the mango sago, and the black sesame soup was, well, unique. But Guangzhou also carries traces of a very different past. Shamian Island was once a European concession during the 19th century. British and French traders lived here during the height of the global colonial trade. Today, the streets are quiet, elegant, and slightly surreal. Modern Guangzhou now stretches far beyond those colonial footprints. More than 18 million people live in the city today, making it one of the largest urban centers on the planet. And like much of southern China, the growth doesn't seem to be slowing down. For our last stop in Guangzhou, we took an elevator 460 meters up the Canton Tower to ride the highest bubble tram in the world. We thought being up so high would give us a grasp of the scale of the city, but I think it just left us feeling more overwhelmed, but astounded, than when we started. Just south of Guangzhou sits Zhuhai, a quieter coastal city, but one with a strategic location. We had to come here for a little bit of business, a little pleasure. From here, the border with Macau is only a few steps away. And once you cross it, the atmosphere changes instantly. Macau was governed by Portugal for more than 400 years before returning to China in 1999. Today, it remains one of the world's most unusual cultural blends. And almost immediately, you can feel how both sides of the border have developed along very different paths. Portuguese bakeries sit next to Chinese medicine shops, and the cuisine itself became something entirely new: Macau food. One local favorite is the pork chop bun, or chu pao pao, a simple sandwich that reflects the same cultural fusion that defines the city. We were hooked on them from the start, and also these. Macau's take on pastéis de nata differs in that it often has flakier puff pastry crust and a creamier custard, but this shop actually serves up the Portuguese variety. But Macau's economy is dominated by one thing: gambling. The city generates more casino revenue than Las Vegas, making it the gambling capital of the world. We're in London. Yet strangely, the atmosphere is very different from Vegas. Less drinking, more quiet, concentration. Except for at the Venetian. But Macau is also part of a much larger story unfolding across the region. For more than 400 years, the city was governed by Portugal before returning to China in 1999 under the one country, two systems framework. Today, as the Greater Bay Area becomes more connected, many people wonder how Macau's identity might evolve. Our friend Jo, who showed us around Macau and has lived there for much of her life, is here to shed some light on the issues.
I think Macau has its essence very alive, even after Macau going back to China. But is it becoming more mainland Chinese? I think it's impossible to become exactly the same, because there's lives that were built here, there's buildings that were built here, there are landmarks here that are very Portuguese, are from other cultures. Macau is very unique. I think Macau will never lose its identity, even if it's more integrated with China for the next years to come. The thing that changed the most in the daily life is the tourism, the amounts of people that come to Macau every day. When I was younger, growing up, there was not that many people. And I think Macau will grow, will be stronger, but still have their own identity. Every place is different than the others. So every city has a story to tell.
And one piece of infrastructure has accelerated those connections more than anything else. The Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. At 55 kilometers long, it's the longest sea crossing in the world. What once took 4 hours now takes about 40 minutes. And more than just a bridge, it links 3 cities with different legal systems, currencies, and histories. Some see it as an engineering miracle, others see it as something more symbolic. Few cities capture the intensity of global capitalism quite like Hong Kong. Over 7 million people live here, packed into one of the most expensive housing markets on Earth. And sometimes that reality becomes very visible. Chungking Mansions is famous for offering some of the smallest but cheapest hotel rooms in the city. We decided to stay here on this trip.
I'll show you what you can get for around $20 a person in Hong Kong. Two small beds where we don't fit, a TV with Indian channels, and a very cute bathroom.
And apparently they get even smaller. Yet inside the same building, you'll find cultures from all over the world, including one of the best Indian curries in Hong Kong, or maybe our lives for that matter. Like Macau, Hong Kong also returned to China under the one country, two systems framework. For now, the city maintains its own legal and economic system, but that arrangement is scheduled to last until 2047. What happens after that is still an open question. But for visitors today, Hong Kong remains one of the most fascinating cities anywhere. And it also offers something unexpected. If you hike up the Victoria Peak instead of taking the tram, you earn the view the hard way. And the reward might just be one of the best skylines on Earth. Even after many visits, Hong Kong is still a place that manages to surprise me. We had one more border crossing back into mainland China. Crossing into Shenzhen feels like entering another timeline. At first glance, it lacks the historical depth the other previous cities had, but it also makes a lot of sense. In 1980, Shenzhen was just a fishing village of about 30,000 people. And today, it's a city of more than 17 million. as well as one of the fastest growing tech hubs on Earth. Speaking of tech, this is one of the first things we tried in Shenzhen.
So we're about to get in a self-driving taxi, and it was quite affordable. It's 7 kuai.
We are about to start. Please make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened. Cabin AC is on.
It's cool, the wheel kind of spins, so it's like there's really a ghost there in a way. And it feels quite safe, like you feel like, you know, it's stopping for cars. It does feel like it kind of, I don't know, adjusts too much in the lane, like it kind of does like a little bit of turning and stuff like that, but it's nothing too weird.
Yeah, I feel more safe than inside some cars with crazy drivers.
Exactly, true. You drive really, really slowly, you're not going too fast. You can see other cars are surpassing us. Okay, so time to arrive. We're getting to the stop. A+ for this driver, really nailed it. Yet even here, the traditional and the futuristic coexist. I mean, just look at the energy of this market. So much stuff. Together, these cities are being woven into what China calls the Greater Bay Area, a mega region meant to rival Silicon Valley, Tokyo, and New York. With over 86 million people, it is already one of the largest urban economies in the world. The cities here are different, sometimes dramatically so, but infrastructure, technology, and economics are slowly pulling them together. Whether this region becomes the world's next great megacity or something entirely new, it's still unfolding. But one thing's certain, the future of cities may very well be written here. If you like this video, please subscribe, and for more China content, head to our website, go to Travel, Asia, and click China.